everyone, hey and welcome back to yet another episode of Battle Rap Resume. This is your host, Tom Quee. We have the Twitter, of course, we have the Patreon, we have the email, get at me, ask Battle Rap Resume, hashtag there, I answer the fan questions, or if you just want to know what I think, you want to come on the show, you have show ideas, any of that good stuff. Leave us a review on iTunes, comment on the YouTube channel. But yeah, I'm really excited to get to today's guest. It's, you know, one of the most underrated writers, I think, in Don't Flop, you know, in Battle Rap. Love this guy's stuff. JB, how's it going, man?
You alright?
I'm well, man. I'm speaking to the JB from the Dank Schrader battle, which I think I mentioned before. That battle to me is like one of the most slept on battles of 2016.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it was. It really came off well. I mean, having the Saurus tweet like "that's the shit I do like" is a bit surreal. When I was like 15 years old, watching his old WRC battles, it's a bit weird, but it's incredible.
And you mentioned being 15 watching the WRC. Was that your first taste of battle rap? Where did it start?
Battle rap started probably like 2004, 2005. I was like, it was just, to be honest, it was just watching Professor Green on those old jump off freestyle things. That was the first time I was introduced to battle rap, like 2004, 2005. There was some like old videos of him being like, "Why am I battling the Milky Bar kids?" And then a bunch of people in the crowd just going mad. And then that was it until I got into Rhyme Asylum around like 2008. I got quite heavily into Rhyme Asylum, and I saw that the main guys had battled in the World Rap Championships that I knew nothing about. So then I just started watching those. Like by then the final had already happened, the second one was happening, so I watched like Possessed and What's His Face versus the Saurus and fucking Immaculate, and then I got into like Kid Twist through it, Iron Solomon, and like Math Hoffer. The Iron Math battle had I think happened or was about to happen, and then to be honest, I kind of didn't really follow it because I was more of I just liked hip hop. Like that's been a thing for me since I was like 9-10 years old. I've just loved hip hop. So then it was like a couple years later or like a year later, someone showed me like Luna C versus DPF, and they were like, "You have to see this guy." And then I was like, "Oh my god, this guy is incredible." And that was it. Pretty much from that day, I just followed, subscribed to the Don't Flop channel, started watching their battles, got into KOTD, saw all these old guys like Kid Twist, Dumbfounded was like my favorite battle for time, and then I just followed it and started writing.
Yeah, I mean, and that writing element, like, I did do a bit of sleuthing online, and you studied creative writing, I believe. It gets mentioned. It gets mentioned in some battles as well. Like, you know. Like, talk to me about this writing gene. Have you just been writing since you were young, or?
Well, actually, there is a story. I used to never, when I was a kid, I'm more of a, like, mathematician. Like, maths and science, I was, like, well good at when I was a kid. Like very like high level at that stuff, and then moving on to like in like college, I'd study like philosophy and politics and shit like that was my thing. But when I was like 15, my mates were forming a band, and two of them, like, to be honest, I'll just name drop them now because if they are listening to this, that'd be jokes. Jake Lane and Josh Jermaine. They were going to. You're right, mate. They were going to start a band, and they were both debating who would be the songwriter, and neither of them could write songs. So I was like, "You're both shit. It can't be that hard." And then I sat down and wrote a song to the tune of Radiohead, Jigsaw Falling Into Place. And from there, in like 2008, that's I just started writing, got into quite deep into poetry and rap, and like writing rap because it was a lot simpler, and like writing stories and writing screenplays, and I've done all that kind of stuff, been published and all that. Like that's kind of where I want to go to after battle rap, is kind of actual like novel writing and poetry, performance rap writing.
And to bring it back down to earth, we have the tryout versus JT3.
You're 16, right? Don't mean shit. At 16, I killed 6 teens with my 16s. Now my 16's so sick, teams get blitzed. Creed with each scheme, that's 4 times greater. Let me show you what this means. For the right paper, take off tops like a strip tease. Pause. Let me quick predict some shit you'll probably serve. How I don't make music ain't dropped on a verse about my lack of track record with no body of work, but I'm a battle rapper, about to stack bodies, and this no body is first.
Yeah.
This is February 2014. How did this battle come out? Like, how did you go from writing to wanting to battle?
To be honest, I'd been battling on like text battling,
right?
From about late 2011, but I was really like I've been writing bars since 2008, but like they were really shit for years until about 2011. They were still really shit. Then, but in 2012 they started to get better. I started to get introduced to more kind of interesting styles. By 2013, the writing I'd say summer 2013, I was at a point where like I could see flaws in the writing of people that I was watching battle, and that was kind of a point where I realized if I can perform this, I might be able to do this properly. And like, so then I did a little fucking shitty video which has disappeared now off YouTube. That it was like a legend, like I say, fucking LSD. He shared it's like some video of me in a park with airplanes flying over and shit, me just rapping some throwaway battle bars, and from that I sent it to old Adamsy who ran Get Slated, and he set up a battle for like, it was in like October, he set up a battle for February next year because he wanted us to have no excuses to fuck up. And then obviously JT3 was pretty awful, bless him.
Yeah, this is like you say, Get Slated. JT3's from Preston. He's one of these great artifacts that is just kind of a guy who appeared out of nowhere and didn't come back. Like
fun fact about JT3, because he I had him on Instagram, and I know I feel like, I mean, to be honest, it's not that bad. It's just hilarious. Sure. He was in a band and he posted a picture on Instagram called the Multiculturalists, and it was a bunch of white kids in this band. And I love that. I just love that.
And I mean, nerves coming into the pit for the first time on cam?
Oh yeah, like as soon as I stepped in there, then they made a semicircle around us and the light went on. I was like, oh my fucking god, what have you done? But then I started and I didn't choke, I didn't do anything. I was able to be like loud enough for everyone to hear, and it went off without a hitch.
Yeah, you talk about your whole 16s killed 16s, like
with when I was 16, my 16s killed 16s.
Just 6, like it's quite, but yeah, and you get into the sort of something you mentioned in a lot of the battles, the height difference, stacking bodies, eye line. Yeah. I mean, is that something you felt? I don't know. You had to mention for some reason, or?
I felt like, it was one of those things, like if I did battle for a few times, it would eventually run dry as an angle, but it would be quite a big angle at the start because I am so like noticeably below average height. So, yeah. No, by the end of it, the battle, you'll look up to me sort of thing, which is really good. And just kind of, going into it and anticipating a lot of his dry angles like Ewoks, Munchkin jokes, break John's bone in John's toe, like John Jones. John Jones. Yeah, that like just happened at the time as well.
It's hard, man.
John Jones. Yeah, that was show my back to this voice, Tom Jones. No, they were so like. I look back on these bars now. I'm like, I mean. Everyone does.
Yeah, of course. And you mentioned, he made the whole mixtape. You made one stoned video, which I guess was the one with the airplanes involved. Yeah. And JT3, quite empty really. His philosophy, Snap J like photography.
I read that.
Leave you in another dimension like Anomaly. This is the bar, which is like...
Bless him. He wasn't. I mean, to be fair, he was only like 16 at the time. So I'm like, he's better than I was when I was 16. But yeah, it was a bit. It's one of those things like you don't really have a context for kind of what you're stepping into when you're battling. To be honest, he was actually better than the other two guys that tried out that day, and whose battle never came out, but was like the worst tryout battle I've ever seen live.
The dregs of Get Slated. I can't imagine.
Yeah. The Newcastle battlers that aren't Death or Seuss.
And he says like Greenwich as Greenwich.
Yeah. You can actually hear my mate, if you fucking play that beat, you can hear my mate in the background say, "It's Greenwich."
You go into sort of, you would do pedo jokes, but he's too young.
Oh, that was that. No, I do pedo jokes, but it's too soon.
Oh, right, it's too soon, yeah.
Because he's only 16.
Bad Copies on Wax. This is his album, Madam Two Swords.
Yeah, that's that kind of, those generic bars that you think are good when you first start.
Yeah. And, you say at the end of your second, forget his next round, come back to your third for when you'll teach him how to punch. It's quite a sort of declab, sort of big proclamation there.
Well, yeah, but it's one of those things. At the time, I was like, yeah, I'm sick. But obviously, no. Although I did have the best bar. My best bar was in the third round, my best punchline. So I did kind of stick to what I said I would do.
What was that bar in your opinion?
It was like an amputee bar. It was just like, at the time that was pretty cool, like amputee. But then it turned out, Big T had already done one against Sue Surf and that, and so but
people are going to search bars like Google from you there in the
search bars like Google has.
Relevant bars work. Fucking up this Northern team, Mike Ashley.
No, that got a huge reaction as well. My favourite line. I had a line there because I've got all my bars here. I can actually look at them. There's some fucking Voltron, Ghost Dog, fucking We Ready for War, Traveling Light, Photons. I like that one.
I did have that on there. Yeah, definitely as well. That was a really, really good one. And he struggles really in his third. Not much from him. He's bringing the hard bars out of Preston. He confirms that he's freestyle in case we didn't know. It's not really. And in the judges, Seuss is there with genuine good friend of the show, Def, in the background. Great to see him there. Raw Talent is there, who had beef with Kojay. So good to see him there.
Raw Talent, actually, he came up to me straight after the battle and was like, "That was sick, man."
Oh, right.
I was like, he was the first ever proper rap battler that gave me praise. Yes, Raw Talent.
Raw Talent, man. A fellow Brummie, man. Shout out to Raw Talent from Spit Roast League. And Chemist was there as well. He said that you had the better schemes. And you won, man, and you showed out. Like, it is, I guess, obviously it's always cringy when you look back, but objectively it's a decent tryout. Yeah,
as a tryout, I was quite happy with it. And I did like it. Like, people like Def and Seuss and Pamphlet were there. Just Def and Seuss were battling as a tag team on that card, and Pamphlet was there. And I went up because Pamphlets multi-style rules were really influential to me when I was first starting out. So I was like, say if you fucking big influence, and he was like, "Yeah, mate, dude, you'll be sick after a few battles." I was like, "Oh, thank you."
Yeah. No, good old Pamphlet, man. He's it's such a wise, interesting dude, and technically brilliant. Like, Pamphlet's one of the best. Like, don't get it mixed up. Like, what the guy achieved, the energy he would draw, and
it's ridiculous.
It is, and it wasn't long until you were battling on Don't Flop against Rinsulin. A dream. Why are you laughing?
Because it is the worst battle I've ever done by far.
So, Rince makes music. It's his big thing. And just because it's this world, you figure Rince wins? No. He's threatened war, end waving white flags like semaphore. I saw 1 minute of footage and knew everything to expect him for. Just talks weed and the government, trees and Republicans, trees and other shit. Oh, tell me more. You think your music's making moves? Mate should have told you. You're pining for a buzz. Woody's owner. See them eyes wide shut? That's a movie poster, and put kicks on your set. Cruise on Oprah.
It is by far the worst battle I've ever done.
Yeah, wow. Yeah. Okay. So, before we get into the content, like, being on Don't Flop, bit of a dream come true, or?
Oh yeah, like at the time, because obviously at the time, never having met. Like, I've gone to quite a few Don't Flop events and seen quite a few. Like I'd been at the 4th birthday live. I've been at It's like set the standard 10, I think, the year before, and loads like SummerSlam, Summer Standard, all that kind of stuff. So I'd seen all these big battles live and seen all that shit, and now I was stood there about to make a tryout and then it was on the same cards like Shuffle and Marlowe versus Wizard and Scissors and fucking Adam the Rapper versus Most Prob. So it was like a huge deal for me to like be on that card. With like all these big battles on my second event, but I just completely misjudged what the room would kind of appreciate, which is just stupid of me because you have like both those battles are quite joke heavy, and Rinsulin was really just mum gay joke heavy, and that won the crowd, and I was just not at all. It was so awkward, and my performance was so stupid.
Okay, so I mean, the performance, which I'm not even, obviously I'm a huge fan of yours, but the comments kind of aren't very friendly towards the performance.
Oh, that's a given.
What? Because, like, I think you've got it. The sort of, like, I mean...
Oh, no, it's so ridiculous. I'm looking at it now like you're a complete wanker.
But, I mean, for me, it's like, that's fine, whatever. It's like, I just don't think, I think the writing I've seen from you has been a lot sharper in other battles.
Oh, yeah, but that was... I think at that time I was trying to be too clever, and it was working out just not clever at all. It's one of those things, like you overanalyze how you're going to do something, and the final product is just, it's too esoteric, it's too just, doesn't really work together, it's just for you, it's not for anyone else in the room, which is still how I write, but it's kind of what I like has, I suppose, like become more mainstream since then. Because that was before, like, that was around the time kind of, or just after like Soul had come back and like he was getting huge reactions now because of the URL contingent and KOTL contingent had come over to Don't Flop, and people were more kind of accepting of bars after, like, to be honest, it was probably, it's going to sound weird, but 100 bullets probably changed UK battle rap forever. But because I'm not even joking,
no.
His battle with Bamalam, like it legitimately changed like how UK fandom sees battling. Like it just opened up, like word association schemes became massive, and then like little double entendre bars became massive, and big up 100 bullets.
Yeah, that's a great theory, actually, and I completely agree. It definitely got me into that sort of stuff. So, shout out that battle. That is like great battle, like, and it's kind of a vintage battle now. It's quite old, but it's
I know, it's ridiculous.
It's great.
That's like vintage.
Some of your bars, though, I agree, they're esoteric, not only in subject matter, but just in syntax, and not really a punch in this one. In the first, lines are easy to craft out of the air like a flight collision. Yeah. I was like making dinner when I thought that bar, and I was like, oh my god, that's so brilliant. But now I'm like, Yeah, it's a bit jumbled for me. It doesn't really have a kind of end to it as well. But...
Yeah. No, yeah. It doesn't. And it's not like a crisp, clear, because obviously it's too craft out of the air, but it's like, oh, there's too craft out of the air. Yeah. It's like, you like what?
No one says that. It's not. It doesn't really kind of ring true. But Rinsulin, yes, okay stuff. The problem is, because you're quite dense, a line like "You're so short you can probably see your feet on your provisional" is going to get a massive reaction as a powder keg.
Yeah, and to be honest, that line is probably the only line of his I was like, that's awesome. Like the rest, he had shit like, you'd go to Soho and take a photo with a hobo on a GoPro. Like genuine, like, that was a genuine stuff, and people went mad for it, and I was like, okay, this is not going to go well. This is going to go so badly.
Yeah. And after school clubs, getting their balls sucked.
Yeah, real high level kind of intellectual stuff.
And, in your second, you are, you do have that originality to your writing, but I was surprised that you went for a Woody Buzz Toy Story bar.
No. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's a second line, and it actually gets a reaction from someone. I think it's Bamalam. He does like a little like side head, like all right face when that happens, which is, I mean, it's just a setup punchline. It's just a setup to an extra punchline, but still, it's one of those things. Like, there's not a lot of thought put into that. I'll be honest.
And I mean, like your writing as a whole, like for battles, like how is that being constructed? Are you getting an opponent and brainstorming, or?
A lot of it, I'll get like an opponent. I'll like brainstorm things. I can think about the opponent. Like obviously, the first things will just be like name flips and shit, and like coming up with like the simplest stuff from what I know about them as a person. I mean, it's like when you're creating a character, like, I need your gender, race, and age. Like, that's all you need to know for a character, and that's kind of all you need to know for a battler for me to kind of start writing bars. But and maybe some basic physical traits, but like, yeah, I'll just start writing, and then like I'll either know stuff about you already because I've watched your battles, or then I'll have to go and watch your battles, or try to do research, which I'm shit at because I'm just don't really care about. Like, the majority of my stuff I just come up with as kind of general bars, or kind of generally related to this topic I want to talk about, and then I'll kind of work it around. But I have this thing where, like, I'll think of a line, I'll know, as soon as I think of a line, I'll be like, yeah, that's the second bar in an 8-bar scheme, or that's definitely like the 7th bar in an 8-bar scheme, or something like that, and I'll be able to like craft the whole 8-bar around this one line I already thought of, but I kind of can envision where that line is going to go in the scheme, and how I want it to come after that, what I want to come before that, and I'll kind of work around all that and build up multi schemes around that, and then build up other ideas around that and try to relate them all back to each other, etc. You know, it's just a long process. And to be honest, if you actually saw the writing process, it's so boring, and just edit half a bar out. No, that multi doesn't fit there. Let's try something else. Let's switch it around. All that kind of stuff. It's just a long, boring process. But it's very like, it's more structural than anything. It's not really, because you know, the actual creative side just kind of happens once you've done it enough times. Like, your brain has hardwired itself to kind of go to these different places when you're trying to think of bars. The harder part is trying to structure it around kind of the idea and making it flow nicely.
And I mean, like, with the Rinsulin battle, just to get back into it, like, he just kind of does a lot of obvious stuff. You're not Lord of this Ring, Frodo, and it's just, you know, it's very much we've heard before. But, you know, he gets the win, you know. All the rappers give it to him. Adam the rapper. Do you remember what Adam the rapper's advice was for you?
No, I don't actually.
You need to swim more to improve your lung capacity.
That's fair. I had like a throat infection the night before. So I was like, and then first round or something, I had like a full-on like voice just completely went about halfway through a line. And I was like, oh dear Lord, what a terrible event. And then I had just some silly bars which just got nothing. And then just, yeah, I was like, no, once the battle finished, like my third round got quite a good reaction, and he completely fucked up the third round, so I thought maybe it might swing if the judges, but nah, that was fair enough, to be honest. Personally, I think I beat him, but, you know, it doesn't really matter, wins and losses. Like, everyone has their own personal opinion on it.
And some big judges there, Wiz and, you know, Scissors there as well, doing it all. And Adam made me laugh. Adam the rapper, he says about Rinsulin, he lost points for needless misogyny. Which is, you know, fair enough. But, you know, this battle, what was it like afterwards? Did you just enjoy the events of the day, or?
Yeah, I just enjoyed the events. I spoke to English for a bit. He like came up to me and he was a big fan, which was like really cool, because I said like, oh, I'm a big fan of you versus Kruger. And, oh no, I was going to say that. I was going to say I'm a big fan of you versus Kruger. And then he told me he was sick of people only coming up to him and saying that they loved him versus Kruger. So I was like, okay. But you're still sick. He's still great, English.
Yeah. Oh, no, for sure. And it was quite a while, you know, before you battled again in terms of, like, verse tracker time, in terms of uploads. Like, what was going on here? Like, King of the Ronalds and that sort of era?
Right, so that was, like, April 2014. Then I waited to get like a callback, see if I get a callback from Don't Flop, because the event that Soul battled Archaic at, which was the end of the tour, the Raise the Bar tour, Rinsulin had done another battle after that, and it was really bad. And I remember coming up to me and telling me like, he did the second battle, it was so awful, like, we're not even going to release it, I think. And I was like, oh, am I getting a second battle? I was like, yeah, of course. And then nothing ever happened for that, like, until like, I can't remember, it was like September, and then or October. I'd gone to like my third year of uni by then, and I saw like Hulk So I think like they were doing tryouts for King of the Ronalds, and I was like, yeah, fuck it, I'll go do a King of the Ronalds battle. So I did, and then I did 2 before they started getting uploaded. So I've done 5. Only 2 of them were on my verse tracker.
That's crazy, man. What were they?
Relapse in a tunnel, that was really interesting because he like just got there, and it was like judged just by Bombshell, and there was like 15 people. Good
Okay.
times.
What else?
Then about Deafening, the legendary Deafening,
Yeah.
which was that was, to be honest, that was a really fun performance there, and I really did well. That was at the Good Ship, and that's when I got the thing, like them when the judges' vote came in. Deafening didn't get a single, like no one in the audience made any noise for it. And then that happened again versus Lighty, the next battle at the Good Ship. So I was on a roll then.
Yeah, and
like
you went on to become champ of King of the Ronalds. Like, was that planned or?
No. So I agreed to go up and battle this guy Technico in fucking Hull.
Right.
Yeah, and because Spowski wanted to get me up for a King of the Ronalds North event. So I went up in a car with Mickey, Cosmo, and one of Mickey's mates, who's a safe guy called Barrington. And we were in the car, and we were sitting there 5 hours. And Mickey told me, he was like, "I'm thinking of making New Vest Technico the King of the Ronalds Championship." And I was like, "Yeah, that's fine by me." And Technico was like, "Yeah, that's fine by me." So just did it then and there that day.
Wow. Behind the magic is crazy to see, but and then winning that, and then what was the divide like? Because you sort of burnt bridges in the Ambi battle at the start of your first, like.
I had like a freestyle about it. I can't remember. I was you're like,
why are you mentioning them? Like, I was the champ for that, like nothing league, something like that.
That shit a league. I mean, to be fair, that's I don't think that's hugely controversial saying that King of the Ronalds is shitter than
I guess not.
Don't Flop.
I guess not.
I mean, I suppose as the champion, it's not as politically correct as it could be, but I'm rarely that politically correct, so I don't really think about that when I'm making a decision.
Mm.
And like the Technico battle, I mean, I just kind of, just because it was a thing, like I just won it and then defended it against Cray, and then I was meant to defend it against 142, and at that point I was like, I don't really care about this.
And was it Don't Flop calling as well?
Yeah, it was after the Lighty battle, because Kruger had come to see me versus Lighty, and like Tony D had been there, and like other people, and I assume someone had a word, because a couple of weeks later I had Bamalam like post on Facebook, can anyone get in contact with JB? And then like I got in contact with him, and he actually wanted me to battle a guy called Hennessy,
right?
On which, I mean, some people, he only had like 2 battles on Don't Flop, and actually at Sunburn 2, like a few months later, I met him after I'd done the Frankie Phraser battle, which was like, in my opinion, my first good battle, the Frankie Phraser one. He came up and spoke to me. He was like, "Yeah, I didn't take you at the time because I thought you were too small a name, and now I can get you." And I was like, "Oh, you're a fucking idiot! Like, why turn down a battle just because you think you're too big for it?" And like, when it could have been good for both of us. But I ended up battling Ren DMC, which was fine.
And a funny battle, that one.
yeah. And I actually wrote that entire battle in one straight 24-hour stage, like 24 hours throughout, just from when I heard the battle was going to happen at about 10 in the morning, about a week before the battle happened, through till the next, because I already had a battle booked actually. Right. I was battling Technico the week after.
Oh.
So like literally the week after. So I put the Technico writing on hold, and then wrote the whole NDMC battle in a day, and then started practicing that while writing the Technico battle, and then did the NDMC battle, then started practicing for the Technico battle. It was hectic times.
Yeah, crazy, man. Like, carrying all that in your mentally, like I can't imagine. But the Nick Vane battle. This was a cool event, wasn't it, in Amsterdam?
Yeah, that was such a sick event, and I really didn't want to like Nick Vane because of all the stuff I talk about, which is all true. All that stuff that I bring up in that battle, but he's actually quite a nice guy. Bless him. I couldn't really hate him after the battle, even though I'd called him like a non-sympathizer and all this kind of shit, and called him a rapist.
Right.
But I couldn't really hate him. Bless him.
And did you have any interactions with Dirtbag Dan?
I did, actually. I met Dirtbag Dan at the event. I actually told him, because at the time I was the King of Royals champion. He's like, no way, dude! You're the King of Royals champion! And then that's when I started speaking to the Saurus, because the Saurus came over and started talking about, like, I can't remember, we started talking about, like, prostitutes not having souls and shit.
Wow.
It was, it was deep.
I mean, I'm wondering more about Dirtbag Dan, like, the mushroom thing. Did you see him, like, full-fledged, or...?
Yeah, he was fucked. He done some of them before the battle as well, so he was not all there, and he was still so fucked from the night before. And then I'm stood like a little bit behind where Big J is, and then he just starts taking these mushrooms, and you can see like his eyes dilating, and he's there, and I'm like, how is he remembering anything? How? Because I've done mushrooms in Dam, and it's fucked up. Like seeing like the floor like melting. Yeah. And I have no idea how he did a battle. I was so amazed, but it turned out so jokes.
And you battle Ambi now, sort of more established in Don't Flop, kind of in the higher bracket of this, certain card.
Well, at the time, over tryouts, but at the time, actually, Ambi, I was his third loss in a row on Don't Flop. Like, he'd done the Crafty tryout and lost that. Then he done, which I'm not sure he really lost that, but he lost it. Then the 2-on-1 battle actually got given to Sojitsu, I think, in the 2-on-1 battle. And then he battled me and lost his third in a row. He wasn't even sure if he'd get another callback, and then his next battle was like Lex, so he was fine.
Yeah, that was quite a good battle actually. But that's interesting, that streak. But this was decent. I was there. I don't think I actually saw this battle. I think I was bathing in my glory of decapitating Turner.
Yes, Turner, the legend.
Oh, what a figure!
He became my favourite. The look on his face after he says that your mum is a Tudor rose. Your mum is a rose, because he like the look on his face is my favourite thing in battle rap ever.
Oh man, yeah, it was. But all in all, it was a great day, wasn't it? Kensington Gardens, quite a regal backdrop.
Yeah, it was far too good for the likes of us. Yeah.
And Ambi gets into it here. There's a crowd, I should say, populated by huge names. It was a great event. For legal reasons, this is not Sloth with the Goonies. The problem with Ambi is he can get like tangled up in multis, can't he?
He can a bit, because and he's never done because I knew Ambi from when he was on the same forum I battled on. He was on there as like Shuffle's mate.
Right.
So when he started battling, I was a bit like, well, you've not really shown anything that you battled. But obviously he'd learned how to multi from Shuffle. He'd kind of learned how you structure it, but it's not quite fluent in kind of how he put it together at the time.
I said I wouldn't talk about your stupid fucking son. If he'd done nothing, I wouldn't. But I knew it would fuck you up. So you think he's smart, special, that you were lucky one? Let's be honest, Stu. He's just going to grow up to be another cunt. Yeah, fuck your kid. Make more of them. Fuck your kid. Make more of them. Already had 5. He ate 4 of them. You know that charity shit? Stuart on his high horse thinking he gave hope to those less fortunate, but everything he reaps they sow, and that Kickstarter started on a steep grade though, so the answer a resounding, we say no to cheap made clothes.
So, and to be honest, I wasn't at my best, I don't think, in that battle. This is when I started to get a bit strung out from doing so many battles in a row, because bear in mind, the relapse battle was in November, and in between that time I'd done 8-9 battles in about a 6-7 month stretch.
Yeah.
So I was just strung out. I was running out of bars. I was just relying on stupid jokes. And at some point, he actually asked me to not bring up his son, and I had so little material. I was like, I have to bring up you asking me not to bring up your son.
Yeah, you say actually, why do you want 6 minutes of material? You've not been rapping for 5.
Yeah, I liked that line.
Yeah, that was a really nice line. His neck beard, no substitute for having a neck. Wouldn't trust you as far as I can throw you. And he just kind of Ambi. I like the detail in Ambi's stuff. I like that he names all the different Titans in his second. He actually names who they are.
I still have no. Apparently, that has something to do with my Facebook. I still have no idea what it was. It was just some random. I think I realised it was a bunch of like Calcium Kid made all these like weird pages because it's Calcium. Like, you know how Calcium Kid's poster, like he did that as like names of like Facebook pages, and I'd followed like loads of them because they were so jokes. And I think Ambi had kind of gone on that and had been like, why is he like something about the Greek gods or some fucking weird thing, and he didn't get the joke or something, and he just made up a round about it.
Yeah,
just, you know, fair enough.
He kind of clowns on your, 16s or your 16s.
Yeah, which is a good idea.
Yeah, quite a nice bar though. 16 like Sistine, massively reaching to paint them pictures.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, it's quite nice actually. I mean, I think Shock's had a better one, like making the point overhead, like Sistine. But again, like a whole place for battle rappers to explore. And he kind of does well here. He disses Frequent Thought at the end, and the camera cuts to Frequent Thought.
Oh, back when Frequent Thought was like relevant-ish. Good times.
You mentioned Crafty here. You guys battled, didn't you?
We did, yeah, the 24 tourney.
Yeah, which never came out.
No, and it was actually because of Cracker. I know the story. It was like we did the first round. It was like me versus Crafty. I was awful, but Crafty just completely shit the bed.
Right. Like
completely. It was so bad. He had the worst choke of everyone there. So I went through on default, and then like Cracker beat Heretic and probably the best battle of that day, and then Seaslin beat J-Red, who J-Red had the best bar ever with that you look like Tracy Chapman in a gay contraption, which was just like, to hear J-Red say that to Seasling was just a beautiful moment. Right. And then there was, it was Innuendo versus Sleepy G. Innuendo won that one, and it was me versus Cracker and Seaslin versus Innuendo. So the next night we get ready after the first day, when like Souls battled C Major and like Luna C's battled. We go outside, and Innuendo hasn't slept from the night before, neither has Seaslin. They're both ready to fucking go, have a battle. And I'm there, and then Cracker just suddenly wanders off around the corner and doesn't come back. Because I think he just hadn't prepared anything, whereas like I had like spent the day I prepared. I had 24 bars for him that I was really actually happy with. And then they were like, do you want to just do the event? And I was like, because at the time I had the choice, like, do I want to just be put through to the final or kind of wait for Cracker? And at the time, because I was like, I'm like by far the smallest name left in this tournament, it would be a bit weird. Like, I would rather wait kind of and earn the final spot if I can. And that just turned out like then by the next day, we hadn't done the semi-finals. They were like, yeah, fuck it, we're not doing the tourney. So that was fine. I mean, like, they ended up, that was like before the Nick Vane battle and the Ambi battle and shit. So like, after I started doing those battles and winning them, like, they kind of didn't really matter.
He has his BMI is higher than his IQ.
Yeah, that may be true.
Right. I mean, yeah, he goes for aggression here. Ambi really doesn't do much. We get the judge's decision. It's a 3-2 split to yourself.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not really surprised because like I kind of just edged through that. I mean, the third round of mine really didn't hit. His did. So I gave him. I thought I won it 2-1. But I can see like if you preferred one of those other rounds more, you give it to him 2-1. It was just one of those battles. Like, I feel like I could have done better. I'm sure he feels like he could have done better because he lost, but it's what it is.
And you say you've battled with Frankie was your first like real battle that you're proud of. Like, this is a real good battle, isn't it? In general.
Yeah, Frankie was like, I thought, to be honest, I remember someone saying that they thought I won the. They thought actually my third round was my best round, but I won it 2-1 on the first two. because of how good Frankie's third round, and his third round is for like 95% of it, it's pretty much perfect. Like, you couldn't fit something else in there and improve it, or you couldn't take something out and improve it. Like, it was just so well put together. Like, and I was like, Frankie was just on fire. But I thought, like, because I had a bit to say, not like a bit to say to Frankie, but I thought like I approached the angle slightly differently than other people had, and that kind of gave me an extra edge, and I was really like hyped up for it.
I always remembered 8 Improves since the debut, Axl Rose. Are you a Guns N' Roses fan, Jay?
Not overly, to be honest. I just know that Appetite for Destruction is by far their best album.
Yeah, oh no, that's definitely true. I actually listened to that recently, and yeah, it is a fucking great album. Cheers, and when Phraser spin off from the bars again is just.
I'm actually so proud of that line.
Yeah,
like yeah.
Really, really good. Yeah. Woody Allen writes a good script but look awkward on cam. You know, there's tons of fucking excellent. The whole line ineffective like the Manigo. I had to have that bar researched. I didn't get that bar at first.
Yeah, the Frank line's ineffective.
Yeah,
I was so hard. Like when I wrote that whole "You Ain't Improved Since Debut" Axl Rose. That's the same as going backwards. Palindrome is like one of the two, like my favorite 2 lines back to back I've ever done. Just 'cause it fit, and I'm so happy with the like. Because it like works, like if you haven't improved since your first time, that is the same as going backwards. It's, you know, and I was just so happy with how that all fit together.
Yeah, no, definitely. Really strong first from you. You know, the whole battle is great. Like a bigger crowd than normal. In this sense, was this something to adapt to for yourself? You felt?
I actually found it really comfortable in there because you had a crowd on the stage. You had like a crowd all around us that was quite packed. So it was like quite a small semicircle. But then the actual crowd was on like a step below, so it was like it was like a mix between pit and stage. Like you had a pit of the other battlers and then the stage behind you, so you had like big reactions coming from the crowd behind you and around us, and then you performed it to the crowd in front of you. So it's like a good kind of mix, I thought. And the stage, like it was so tight, but that was a good stage for battling.
Yeah. Fucking awesome battle. I think your third is really good as well. Like it is such a good round. The whole Rorschach test was crazy. Has ghostwriting into ghostwriter to make his shit legible. The whole going in and how he can't spell was quite an original angle.
Well, it's true as well. Like I'd noticed it because I had him on Facebook, and I was like, the amount of like punctuation and spelling errors he makes was quite odd for someone whose writing was so intricate and so well thought out. And like you can clearly tell Frank's not a stupid guy. Like he knows about a lot of interesting things in the world, and he can reference them and build off them. But also he can't spell, and it's really odd.
Yeah. Put the faggot in dyslexic. Loves that as well. Nice stuff with the spelling stuff, and yeah, really, really seriously good battle, man. And the next battle, I love this battle, but more for Soweto, I've got to say. I think it's one of his best performances.
Yeah, and I was not, because it was like a month after the battle.
Yeah.
And I remember because started, he like messaged me like, who do you want to battle? And I was like, he tried to give me frequent thought, and I was like, I do not want to do that battle by any stretch of the imagination. That sounds horrible. And then like an hour later, he came back with Soweto Kinch, and I'd known about Soweto Kinch before rap battling because I quite liked his music. So like it was a really like surreal thing, and obviously seeing him battle like Shuffle and Harry Baker in these great battles, I was like, fuck yeah. But then said like 1 minute rounds, yeah, and he hadn't said that to me before. So I thought maybe Soweto had asked him, like, I'm performing or something, I can't really give it my full attention, can we do 1 minute rounds? So I wrote 1 minute rounds, and he wrote like a 4 minute second round or something. And to be honest, his second round especially was so good, I think I could have written for like 5 minutes, and he still would have won. But I'm just more disappointed with myself for not going over the time limits and not kind of giving that battle everything when I should have done. When, yeah, it was such a stupid thing. He absolutely killed it.
I'm not going to lie, getting written's just for you is an obstacle. It's how much can I write, listening to as little of your music as possible. Your last album was 18 hours long. Give up the ghost. It could be the greatest of all time. No one's finished to know, because it starts with a phone call. On the 9th track, you pick up the phone. By the 41st song, you just give up and go. So that came out. In the end, didn't get no love. I mean, critical reception's fun, but if album sales don't get those funds and you're performing free for everyone, the ends won't come. You need to step those up. Record labels expect those numbers to expend those sums, or you're dragging your career out the gutter like Steptoe's son. I mean,
yeah, he was so good in this. Really, I think he's one of the best Sowetos I've ever seen. In a battle, just like obviously Soweto, he's such a witty, interesting guy. He's so rhythmically technical, but just brilliant and hilarious. Overgassing him like Volkswagen manufacturing. Probably need tweezers to fiddle his elbow. Really, really, really good stuff. Ridiculous kind of attacks that he goes down.
Yeah, I was probably the first short person he battled. So
yeah,
and he's very much from that style of like straightforward, just attack like you're short, you're fat, etc. Like you're a geek. Yeah, those are the kind of things he went, and so like it was a setup for him to just knock it out of the park. That's him, and he did. Like I can't front, like that's the only battle of mine that I'm just like, yeah, I lost that one clearly. Like I'm not going to debate that one.
Yeah,
like Rinsulin, I'll be like, no, I think I won that. Dank Schrader, I'll say, no, I think I won that. Soweto Kinch, no, he fucking killed me.
Because I mean, like even like your strongest line in the first, bottled up like a cork might. He sort of flips it really with the whole, you have one up your batty hole.
yeah, he did. Though that actually has like one of my favourite bars that I think at the time certainly it was one of my favourite lines I'd had, which was the like I write in pictures like Egyptians, visit Soweto with the hook like hieroglyphics. Like that line, and then like the multis of writing pictures like Egyptian hieroglyphics.
Yeah.
It's like
that is a sort of gold standard, definitely. And then from Soweto as well, the real simple lines that just kill. How are you a metronome but can't rap on beat?
Yeah, that one. Once he said that and the crowd died, I was like, that's it, game over. Like genuinely, like, oh fuck. Like after the first round, I still like felt, because I had like the cork mite, which like had killed the room on like my second line, and then I got the crowd like buzzed off the hieroglyphics line. I thought the first round was pretty close, and then the second was just not. It was just not in the slightest. It's like shit.
Yeah. I mean, Soweto's second, I want to point everyone to watch again. It's so good.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
Anime Ted. You look like an anime Ted, which is just like...
yeah. Oh, yeah. If you want to see me get like fucked up, then the second round versus Soweto Kinch is definitely the round for you.
For you, a fork in the road is an obstacle course.
Yeah.
Just crazy shit, and
just silly.
Yeah, exactly. And you sort of go into. I like how you did a bit of research with his life of Mike Smith though in the third.
Yeah, like actually, that whole bit was a lot. Like, there's a lot more research went into the bit about his album than was the payoff for it. Like, because I did a lot of research, like to find out like his album was fucking. It starts with a phone call. On the 9th track, you pick up the phone. By the 41st song, you just give up and go. And those are all actually the names of those songs on the tracks. But obviously, like, people don't know what the name of the 41st track of Soweto Kinch's album is called. So it's just, it makes no sense.
And there's a interview after this, I think, with Mad Dog TV. Always shout out Mad Dog every time.
That was Rimo, but yeah, shout out Mad Dog.
Oh, it was Rimo. You're right. Yeah, it was back when he used to do those. Yeah, shout out Rimo Morgan, of course. And you mentioned in the post-battle interview that you're going to release some music soon. Is that coming out?
Well, I just literally recorded over a album called A Wiser Self, which still needs another fucking go at the demo. The problem is I know no one with a studio. And I live in fucking the middle of nowhere in Basingstoke, so it's so difficult. So but I need to really do that. And I've got like I have some extra music now that I could have put on like Viewpoint like a year ago, but I'm just too lazy to get someone to grab a phone and record it for me. I should do that, because I'm not as bad a rapper as you probably think. Like. Yeah, because I'm like shit, but I'm not that bad at rapping. Like I can do quite a lot of different styles, and I can rap over quite a lot of different like beats. But it's one of those things like I need to practice it more to keep going, because that's always been kind of like my first love. And you can always you can get a lot more creative and go a lot more, because a lot of my shit is kind of quite existential and quite like philosophical and like related around like science and space and stuff. So you can actually do that in a song that you can't do in battling, and I try to get around that by doing lots of like cultural referencing and all that kind of stuff. But you can't start referencing science or Klein bottles in the middle of a battle, because no one will get a reference to a Klein bottle.
No, I don't. But I mean, maybe
it's a 2D shape in 3D space.
Right.
It's how you create a 2D shape in a 3D space, or like a shape with one side in a 3D space. It's really interesting. But there you go.
Interesting. Crazy battle now, the Dank battle.
I said stop the pretense and stop the act. You like popping fresh has been popping tags, so look. You may define war as a state. Both sides fought, not today. This my court got the stain on my floor, body shaped. The guy's forming the grey. Outline chalk, this your grave that I've drawn. Got a greater drive, talk of that, your line's more than decaying. No fine for me can make my oath. Thought he was safe till I forced in my way. This rhyme form I create makes ice store levies break as tides force on the rays that might touch the K. A life source iron waves in time force seismic plates from iron cores. Shape when I talk. This is a slump, those guys. Cunts don't write half as strong. Yeah. This when Maradona was banking on the ref not seeing what the cameras watched. Because if you wonder how little man jumped so high, got the hand of God.
Oh, that was unreal, bro.
Highbury Fields. As I said before, I was there. You can actually see me in the background of the first 2 rounds. I'm rocking a very tight German shirt. So if you wanna spy me,
I actually do remember seeing, because you were like stood diagonally off Dank,
right?
So I could see you a little bit, and I actually saw your reaction to the block party bar, and I was like, yeah, he knows, he's an indie fan.
I know. A silent alarm went off in my head.
Hey. Nice. You should start writing battle bars or something.
Oh man, maybe. What a Briggsy. But no, with I actually, just to do a little turn, I know that album Weekend in the City. I don't know it musically, I just know it culturally. But Silent Alarm, they had a lot of interesting guitar parts in that time.
Silent Alarm was like the soundtrack of like when I was like my 13th or 14th year. Like I've listened to every song on Silent Alarm too many times. I really do love that album. I love like the guitaring, the drumming, the kind of, his lyrics fade as I get older, like the actual standard of them, but it's still quite interesting, the introspection and shit. Like I enjoy Block Party a bit more than I probably should for being like 25 years old.
No, I get what you're saying. Like I did listen to them around that time as well, weirdly. Because I guess we are the same age, so it makes sense. But I'm thinking back, songs like Helicopter and Banquet as well.
Yeah, Banquet.
Banquet is a really cool song, actually. I remember. I remember me and my friend actually. They had in this guitar magazine. They had the tab, and we like played it like together. Like each part, these edgy Brummy kids. But no, shout out Block Party. And that bar is insane. But Dank kicks it off with, one of my, it's maybe one of my favourite bars, like, of all time. I think he drops in this. And, I know it's not the most complex bar, but it's the way he delivers it as well, the way he kind of amplifies the bar, the whole, show my opponents we in way different classes, because I'm dropping my shit, think rope bridge over bottomless pit. I'm saying cross me and it ain't your day if I'm snapping.
Yeah. I remember, like, he dropped that and I was like,
But it's the way his neck sort of cocks back and, like,
it ain't my day if I'm snap. It's like, It's like, fuck now.
Yeah. And then, like, because he has that variety in his textures where he'll go from something like that Haymaker to, like, his Romanian accent things.
Yeah, and he'll kind of, he'll mix out with, like, this very self-aware kind of bar, then gun bar, but he'll do the gun bar like a cheeky chappy, so it's okay, he did a gun bar. Yeah. And then he'll like mix it up with some actually really impressive writing, and then he'll go back to some like stupid joke. Or it's the diversity, I think, was like Dank's greatest skill.
Yeah, definitely. And he says like, it sounds a bit Scottish. He says that afterwards. Yeah. Bars the opposite of sane homos. He's straight crazy. Third round, you're getting clowned to death. Little boy on Wayne Gacy. Crazy.
I like that. Yeah, that was mad.
I mean, seeing the KOTR faculty kind of back in Dank, what was that like?
I wasn't really too fussed at that point.
Right.
I mean, like, I'm not really like too fussed. Like at the same time, the only problem I ever had in that battle, I remember, especially in the second round, because they just kept like every other line they were going off, and it like some of them deserved it. A lot of them didn't deserve what they were doing, and I was like, this is going to make the battle look bad on camera. Like, because I could kind of feel at that point, like, this battle could be really good because the crowd's rocking, but if the crowd gets overhyped and starts overreacting to bars, then it could kind of make the battle look shitter when it goes onto camera, and these people who aren't there at the time and they'll just start like there already were comments like fucking Dank, quiet down your mates, and they weren't even his mates, they were just random people there. But it's one of those things.
Yeah, I remember at the time thinking, like, it doesn't ruin it or anything like that, but it's just an interesting kind of thing to to comment on. And Dank's first is probably his strongest round, I would say. Real strong round. Try Dank and the Coffin next, Virgin Lungs. Creates different and you kick in by talking about his boy Nick Vane. So this is a reference to like because Dank, for those who don't know, he was like an RMBVA guy, wasn't he? Or still is?
Yeah, he was the rap battle champion for RMBVA.
Wow.
I don't know if he still is, if he still holds the title, but yeah, he was the RMBVA battle champion. He actually told me that on like when I said, like as soon as I said like we're setting up this battle, I said my first line to him, I was like, let's go, Dank, I did your boy Nick Vane real fucking dirty. And then he says, oh yeah, I was actually the champion of that league. And so I was like, okay, well, yeah, there you go. I'm going to put it in there.
Show true colours like Jebediah Springfield Silver Tongue?
Yeah, that was just to be honest, I had that, before you roll up Dank, you got to split a Dutch. I had that for like the punchline, and then for about 6 weeks I just had nothing there, and then suddenly I had Silver Tongue, and I was like, oh, fucking Silver Tongue like Jebediah Springfield, yeah, and then it just all fucking fit together. That's generally how I do most of my lines, just sat there just staring at a screen of one really good line, and like, how am I going to improve this or make the whole thing better? And that's what that line was born out of.
And we mentioned Block Party before. You multi-off it into Ross Barkley.
Yeah, to Doc Marty, Top Vardy, Cromarty, Clock Darley, Bob Marley, Lock Car Seat, etc. Tom Hardy.
I love the way you say Topped Vardy. Like, because it's one of those bars that it's in a way is already dated just in the reference. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's kind of like it crystallizes a certain moment, and you're like, kind of topped Vardy. Like, you say it in a certain way that I think is really compelling.
Yeah. I really believed it as well, that's the thing, because Vardy scored like 11 goals, and I was actually on a 7 battle winning streak, like 7 judged battles winning at the time. So I was like, yeah. And
JAYBE Vardy?
Yeah, JAYBE Vardy. There you fucking go. It could have been so beautiful, but no.
Yeah. And then we have the Talking Heads bar as well, which is sensational. Yeah. If he uses the short angle dwarfist pen, which I think is really nice as well. Strong from him. Again, Dank is quite strong here as well. It's kind of the flow really kind of keeps you going. They don't condone me at Ofsted, teach you a lesson in aggression.
Oh yeah, I mean, to be honest, that bars I'm a bit iffy on like itself, but like the whole I'll teach you a lesson, like he performs it really well. Even though the end punchline, I'm a bit like,
yeah, I know
a bit like
that.
Yeah.
It's like,
I'm a bit like that for most punchlines. So, like, I have quite a high stand. Even for myself, like I go through most of these and be like, that could have been better. That could have been better. Like the whole bit between Talking Heads and the last 8, I'm like, that could have been better. I mean, even though that
it's strong though, man. Like, it is very strong. Yeah. Like, is it quite satisfying to know that you've got a battle that really is highly regarded? Like, finally, not finally you have some, but you know what I mean? It's like a good document.
Yeah. It's one of those things, that like, I can go back, like, people can watch that, and I'm not sure there's going to, at the time, like I did say for, like, the JT3 battle, I was well proud of myself for doing that. And then I go forward to kind of just like a year later, or like 16 months later, 18 months later, I'm looking back and cringing at that. I could probably go back to the Dank performance right now and not cringe, and that's good enough for me.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's fair enough. And, I mean, he does have some nice bars, though, but I think I've heard this before in a certain sense. Nobody gives a fuck if Napoleon Complex.
Yeah, I think people have had... I had Napoleon Complex. I have a Napoleon Complex bar that I haven't used yet because of him.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah. Face on the back, like Steve-O... you talk about 7. Schrader going over his notes trying to draw 2 W's together.
Yeah.
That
Yeah, that was because he really wanted a Breaking Bad bar. Like, he really wanted me to do one because he hadn't had a good one done to him. And then when I did it, his reaction was like, yeah, it was worth trying to put one together. just to get Dank to go like,
I remember at the time I was tweeting out bars at the live that I enjoyed, and I think one of the ones that I noted from you was any poison in your notebook, it's graphite.
That was safer. That was like the first line in like a 4-bar scheme. And it's actually, I'm not too happy with that one because my favorite, it was, again, it's one of those bars, like one of my favorite ones I ever had was like just after that. It was like, show him the ropes just to raise him up. If he can fly, it's hang time from the gallows, then dragging on his back like Shanghai gang signs. And that was like the way that all fit together, like, you know, show him the ropes, it will raise him up. If he can fly, it's just hang time. That's kind of a Michael Jordan reference to Michael Jordan can fly, no, it's hang time. And then from the hang time from the gallows, then dragging on his back, Shanghai gang signs. Like, it all rolled into each other, and I was really happy with how that worked.
Yeah, man. Insatiable section. I love the whole ending as well. Made the transition. This is about kind of, you know, Dank has mentioned going from a forum battler to one in reality. Made the transition from side scrolling to live action like the Sands of Time.
Yeah, I was well proud of that one.
That is crazy. That is, yeah, absolutely crazy. Roll is right, you know, spark him, and Dank's passed out to the left hand side and stuff like that. And
yeah, that was. Yeah.
I mean, I think you have a bit more variety just throughout. Dank in his third is just, okay, here's my short jokes round.
Yeah, he does kind of just go to these short jokes, which, I mean, fair enough, because that's always going to be an angle, and with certain people, that's going to, like, it gets a bit divisive, I think, that, like, a lot of people are going to react, but then there's a lot of people that will just turn off because you're doing quite generic stuff. And that's kind of what I have to rely on, because I don't really respond to short jokes now. I just kind of rely on the fact that I've done like 20 battles and all this, and so like it's already happened, and if you're going to have short jokes, they better be really fucking good.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, no, that's not to say that there isn't some original for here, but I think...
there is, but some of them were like, I mean, I really like this. You got a set of baby Nikes for Christmas, but they're a tad too big. I like that line.
Yeah. And he's got you, you know, talking about how he was a fan of you, really, sharing my battles, quoting my bars. You were a fan of me before I was.
Yeah, which is, true, because I wasn't, like, a huge fan of myself. And, like, whereas he was actually, like, he came up to me after his tryout, like, at an event, I can't remember, it was like a Christmas event where I was meant to play LS and he was, like, came up to me and he was like, oh, sick, bro, sick, you're sick. I was like, oh, cheers. And, yeah.
And then the whole Maradona section. I mean, forget about going crazy over your bars. You can hear 142 going mad over this.
Fucking hell. That's how you know. That's how you know it was good. Even 142 couldn't hate me for that long.
But yeah, just... I mean, it's magical, really, that section. Like, really, I remember seeing it live and being kind of drawn away by it. Like, you have these moments, don't you? Okay, a lot of people say JAYBE has this long multi-stream nature, but you can do it in such a, like, immense way.
Yeah, because it's kind of, like, I'm trying to keep... if it's not interesting to me, I'm not going to assume it's going to be interesting to other people. But some of the stuff I was doing, like, there is a bar. There are bars wrapped in there, but I don't like to force-feed my bars to someone. I like them to, like, I think it's more rewarding if you do a little bit of the work. Like, you know, there's this is your grave that I've drawn, where's that? So you made the flying war as a state, both sides fought not today. This my court got the stain on my floor body shape. The guys forming a grey outlined chalk. This your grave that I've drawn, got a greater drive. Talk with that, yeah, your lines more benzocaine than a fine form you can make. Might have thought he was safe till I tossed him my way. This rhyme form I create makes I still levies break as tides full solid rays that might torture decay. A life source iron raise in time forge seismic plates from iron cores planet shape when I talk. Like stuff like that. Like I enjoy writing that because it's like, again, it's like space, it's like science, it's kind of stuff I'm more interested in. But I'm trying to like actually fold in bars inside that. Like there's references to benzocaine, which is a drug you cut cocaine with. There's references to kind of climate change, all that kind of stuff. Like I try to keep it a bit more than just multi-stacking. Although obviously, if it wasn't rhyming, it would sound a lot worse.
Yeah, no, definitely. But you know, insane, you know, crazy good battle. I have to say, you know, yet again, everyone knows how much I love this battle. It is a fantastic battle. You versus Jay Short quickly, like that was kind of a big name for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, like that was because of how well the Dank battle had gone across. So like they were doing like JAYBE versus E Farrell, JAYBE versus Jay Short, JAYBE versus whoever, and then we just set up for this because Jay Short was going to battle me a while before that, but he didn't think I had the experience. which was, I mean, that's fair enough, but it was after he'd battled Frankie. I've done twice as many battles as Frankie has, and in my opinion, I beat Frankie. Like, Frankie will argue he won, I'll argue I won, but, you know, it's one of those things. But I was a bit like, if that's what you want, then that's fine. I don't really agree with it. But then after the Dank one, he said, yeah, let me go it done. And Jay Short's actually, that's the first time I've done a battle with someone and not had to look back on their battles, because I remember Jay Short having his tryout and watching it and being a fan of the fact that he was a Lunar Sea clone, and like, yeah, and like going forward, like seeing how he changed his style, like around like the tag tournament. I remember it was actually the tag tournament. He had some like playground word association scheme that I actually quite liked at the time as well. And then like he'd moved on, so like I'd kind of gone through the same thing he had, but I hadn't been battling at the time, so I couldn't make all the silly mistakes of copying Lunar Sea or doing word association schemes. But I could diss him for it, and that's kind of where that, like, I normally judge how prepped I am for a battle by how many rounds of material I write. Like, I will normally write about 5 rounds of material and then cut it down into 3. With Jay Short, I wrote about 7 or 8 rounds of material and then cut that down into 3 longer rounds. So like I was hyped for the battle, and like I was really like my 3rd round I was really happy with in the Jay Short battle. And to be honest, every round, like, it made like, some of the bits I think I overthought coming in, but I'm happy with how it turned out.
Yeah, no doubt. It's a fantastic clash there. But I want to wrap up with a body bag. I want to wrap up with T.Mhillz, who me and Bear Solutions did. I don't know if you listened. We did like a top 5 training days body bags. And,
did you have it there?
Yeah, we did a long-form analysis of this battle, but I've got to retouch on it yourself. I mean, no one could have ever predicted that JAYBE would battle Jonai's manager / cousin.
No, even I didn't predict that, because I wasn't. The only reason I did it was because I got tagged in a post that put up like fucking Jonai's manager's coming over, 2 battles. He's done battles before. I didn't watch the battles. I was just like, yeah, all right, I'll do it. And then I watched the battles. I was like, oh fuck, oh no. And I knew, I was well aware that I'd beat him. Like, there was actually one point where the battle, just before the battle came out, I completely forgot T.Mhillz existed. And like, it was one, like, if someone mentioned T.Mhillz for the rest of my life, I think I would have forgotten that I did that battle. And, like, because it's so like surreal doing that, and having like Jonai stood off to the side and Matt Hoffer stood off to the side and like reacting to my shit. And I'm like, and as well, I actually had a bar in there that was a bar Matt Hoffer had said in an interview,
right? But
he'd never used in a battle, and I actually used it. And I'd had it for like 2 years, just this random line that I couldn't use against anyone. I used it against T.Mhillz, and Matt Hoffer was there to see me copy a line that he just said in an interview. It was. And then he was like, Jay, I'm going to fucking beat you up, man. Because I said, he apparently didn't know that Buckingham was a thing that people already knew about here. Like, he was so upset about like, do people like, do they actually do the bar like as in Buckingham? I was like, yeah, that's an actual thing, Math. Like, I'm sorry.
You and Math just hashing it out. I can see.
Yeah.
Making moves to change scene like Zach Morris stopping time.
Yeah. That's a bit drawn out, but
yeah. Because I mean, T.Mhillz is just, I don't really want to spend too long on him because it's just not, it's very just cookie clutter.
It is, but he has an incredible, like, before he chokes, I didn't realize it at the time, but he has that thing. He says like, get tied up, fried up, let it burn like the Usher jam. I didn't think about it at the time, but he's definitely going to say Buckingham after that. And that's, I think, why he choked, because that Buckingham thing had got a reaction.
Yeah.
And then he just chokes, and he was like, I'm here to promote my music. And I was like, oh, why are you promoting your music when you're just getting bodied?
Yeah. Who's going to check out his music now because of this? Like,
yeah.
It's just...
Like, yeah.
It's
so stupid.
Yeah, but I love it. You end your 3rd very simply. Nepotism can exist in any walk of life.
Yeah, well, that's the reality. Let's be honest. Like, you're not gonna. been brought over here because of your battle skill. You're brought over here because Jonai is really fucking good. And he said, yeah, why not?
Yep.
And it's like, and it's the irony that a battle rapper like Jonai that battles a few times a year has a manager. Like it's you know, it's just kind of adding like corporatism brought into battle rap, but at a ridiculous kind of level of like local battlers. Like there's no reason why Jonai can't book 4 battles a year for himself. But he has a manager, and it's just silly. And what does this manager, who's not even a very good battler and seems to have no experience in anything, what's he bringing to your table apart from being your cousin?
Yep.
And that was my whole angle.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree, man. It was grown man bars in the best possible way. But obviously we've spoken about the lazy battle. Definitely check that out. You know, that'll be out way before this comes out. Digging into, maybe by the time you listen to it, it's went down. Who knows when happened? Who could have predicted Lacey's antic in the third? But you know, it was quite alarming and upsetting. But I mean, beyond that, like battle wise, are you going to stay at the same pace? Is there anyone you want to battle or?
I mean, want to battle? Apart from people who are like really good, like, you know, like they're the people I actually want to battle. Like I remember after the Dank battle, Soul messaged me like saying that was incredible, and I was like, oh, thanks a lot, man. That means so much because like for me, like Soul's one of the like 3 biggest influences on me battling, like my battling style, quite obviously. And when he said that, I was like, safe, like that's quite weird. 'Cause, like you're like my Pesci, and he was like, and like when he was like, oh, well, fucking keep going, man, and we'll probably battle sometime in the future, which like realistically isn't going to happen unless I fucking battle a lot more. But we'll see. That'd be obviously the one.
Jesus Christ, you guys. Yeah, I think there's a lot of people out there that Soul is like that sort of dream battle because it's such a test, such an honor, you know, and he always brings it. And so, yeah, that would be. Who are the other influences then? You mentioned Soul. Who are the other 2 massive influences?
I think my first one, which actually made me like, in the span about 2 months after watching his battles, I actually got good at writing, and that was JC. Like JC, like 2012 JC, or like 2012 JC, like in the build up to Chilla Jones and after Chilla Jones, mostly in the build up, but those battles. And then the one which was like the complete game changer was B Magic. B Magic was the, like, listening to him is kind of like, I think most of my flow, like what I do is just a poor B Magic impression, but obviously I'm not nearly as funny or just like witty as him, so it's more just serious bars. But like B Magic is definitely like, I went to Ireland that summer and I had nothing because I had no internet, because we were in the middle of buttfuck nowhere on the west coast of Ireland, and where all my family live. And then there was all I had on my phone were 2 saved videos of the best of JC and the best of B Magic, and I literally listened to those videos for like a 5-hour journey going back and forth like to Ireland. And like once that happened, it just kind of all fit into place in my head. And then like obviously I expanded on my own style and fucking made it my own style, but for ages it was basically a poor JC/B Magic impression with a little bit of soul.
That's brilliant that you listen to them so much. Yeah, that is it all makes sense. It all makes sense. So we'll wrap up with a few quickfire questions. The first one being favourite Don't Flop battle.
Oh, fucking hell. Soul vs C Major.
Wow.
Just straight up.
Yeah. Interesting. Had to be Soul, but yeah. What are your thoughts on, I mean, my personal favourite Soul battle, and my favourite battle actually, Soul versus Matter. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, Soul vs Matter was like, that was like the preemptive battle. That was like the battle before, but like I say, like 100 bullets, like changing battle rap. That was like the battle which was like a weird, like, kind of like it was sent back in time from like the modern era. Like back day one.
Yeah,
because like the style was like the Pink Floyd bars and all that, like not many, like 5 or 6 people in the crowd at that point were getting them, whereas if you did that now it would absolutely just explode. It was one of those. And like Most Prob as well, Soul vs Most Prob is an incredible battle.
Incredible.
And Soul's first round versus Archaic is one of the best rounds. That's where he does that we'll need to get the needles off him. He'll be in a seated coffin if we don't get the needles off him, like River Phoenix crossed with Philip Seymour Hoffman, which was just like that. That my brain exploded a bit for that one. The Soul versus Low Pesci battle is incredible. Low Pesci has a whole like Bo Swordia throat dog, Jebediah Springfield, and like this step inside my big field, I mechanize the windmill. And like that like it has like no relevance, but that is one of my favorite lines ever. Just step inside this big field, I weaponize the windmill.
Yeah.
It's just so like so much imagery in that, and Low is just amazing, and Soul is just incredible as usual. And then his rounds versus Raptor, obviously. Versus Shocks, is, I mean, there's so many classics.
No, for sure. What about King of the Dot? Your favorite King of the Dot battle?
I think this is actually quite a common one because I listened to Pat Stay versus Head Ice.
Yes, naturally.
It's my favorite. Like when I've seen that battle far too many times, but a good amount of times just because it is like perfect. And Head Ice, that was when like a lot of people's first exposure to Head Ice's style of just fucking rapping at you and being so fucking cool. It just like a limited watts of space. I'm living like it's just his flow and just everything you put together. I was just amazed by Head Ice. And then my original favorite was Kid Twist Dumbfounded. That was like back in the day, back when Lunacy was like the #1 in the world.
Yes, I remember those times as well.
Dark.
What about URL?
So URL is actually like my favorite one, which is kind of, URL is like this massively double-edged sword because of, the crowds can be so ridiculously hyped and the battlers can be so bad but have such good performance it throws them over the top. But I have to give it a tie between Averb, Hitman Holler, and Big T versus Sue Surf.
Oh, Big T versus Sue Surf. Yeah.
Those are my two. And then obviously you got fucking JC Chiller. You got so many, like so many incredible battles.
So many B Magic battles that are fucking
so many. Like B Magic versus Chiller Jones, B Magic versus Tay Rock, fucking Conceited. B Magic's rounds versus Charlie Clips are incredible as well.
Yeah,
like, Charlie Clips is awful.
Clips is awful in it. Yeah, you're right. He's terrible. But
Magic is just a don.
Beat
and
fast. Crazy. yeah, it's so good. And Magic as well, it's crazy how his style, which is quite an intimate style, it really worked well on that sort of gnome stage.
Yeah, it did, because he's like really, like you say, a really intimate style, but his bars are like relatively simple, but he pounds them on there and they're so crisp and so well put together that they really just fly off on like a URL stage. He's just throwing these bars out there and the crowd just lapping it up when he's on form. It's just like the perfect style, and it's really what a lot of people like. B Magic is probably the most influential battler, I think.
Yeah.
In that, like, I think so, because he was the first guy that really got to like the top of battling world through his style, like, and like packing them all together in a lot like bar for bar kind of thing, like where you're not just hitting on the fourth line, you're hitting on the second, you're hitting on the third, and you're trying to hit on the first as well, and like it's just a whole different standard, and now everyone does that or tries to do that, and that wouldn't have been the case. Like we might still be stuck on word association schemes.
No, man, I think you're right. I think you've made some poignant points, like 100 Bullets being that kind of intro gateway drug to schemes and battling stuff, and definitely about B Magic as well. So, final two questions. First one is your favorite film.
Oh fuck, I don't really have a favorite film, because I think like having a favorite in like an art form is a bit difficult. But if I had to, maybe City of God.
Right. Okay.
Maybe, or like there's so many though. But City of God is right up there as one of my favorite films. Yeah. I'll just go with that. Okay. That's my answer.
And finally, your favorite musical artist, non-hip hop related.
Oh fuck. That's difficult because there are actually a lot. But if I had to, maybe it's going to sound, maybe the Smiths.
Right. Okay.
They're the first one that kind of climb into my head because Morrissey's lyrics are incredible, and Johnny Marr is such a brilliant guitarist.
So he's like a B Magic style figure, like he's so influential.
Yeah.
B minor.
like B minor. Like, just the amount that he just does, and like, it's so ridiculously influential on that whole like style of music that came after him. And like, you listen, like the intro to like This Charming Man, you're like, no one else in the world would have thought of that.
Yeah,
or, like,
it just sounds so like sort of outward, doesn't it? And so isolated, so beautiful. But yeah, that's Smiths. I don't know if anyone said the Smiths yet, so it's good to. I don't think Shock said the Smiths anyway. A different kind of Smith, I think it was. He was inferring there. But Jay, I mean, this has been great, man. I want to wrap up. How do people get at you? Twitter, social media.
Fucking Facebook, I guess. Just Jacob Birkinshaw, the most uncreative rap name there is. Just initials, but I mean, I have a Twitter, JB Wiser. I don't think I have Twitter on my phone though,
right?
Or like anything, or like Instagram, JB Wiser. I don't think I don't have that on my phone. Just like, I don't know, go on Facebook or something.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Find me.
Check
You'll
out
find
your
me.
Yeah,
if you want to find me, that is. That's fine.
Yeah, well, Jay, this has been great, man. Thank you for joining the show.
Oh, thank you. It's been, a great interview. Good luck in endeavours, etc.
Thank you. Thank you.